5 more classic Mercedes that are inexpensive. Supporting us on Patreon. Don't forget that your questions will be answered sooner. All you need to do is send me an email at mbownersforlife@bellsouth.net with proof of your Patreon submission. Thank you. Okay, so the last video we did on the 5 best values in classic Mercedes was, well, to put it lightly, I got some interesting responses. Some people agreed, some people disagreed. So one of the most interesting responses I got was how the W201 190 was not that great of a car and was not very durable. Well, like it or not, there are a lot of 190s driving around Africa, and the price of entry is pretty inexpensive. And if you have a 190 diesel, at least, you know, the things get great fuel economy. If you don't like the 190E, that's fine. It just means that they're more. Do like them. The thing is that 190s were so badly maintained, continue to be poorly maintained, that you know, finding a good one is hard. But usually when they show up, they're under $3,000 or $4,000. So going back to the topic here, I sort of put a list together of cars that offer you a lot of car for the money. So we're not looking at what's inexpensive. We're looking at what offers you a lot of car for the money here. The first one is probably the 1968 to 72 280 SE W108. These cars are still expensive to sort out, but you get the prestige of a 108 series car without having to pay V8 prices. The 4.5 would have been on this list a few years ago, but those cars have crossed the $20,000 threshold, where it's still possible to buy a 280 SE, a 250S, a 250 SE, you know, and get a decent one for under $8,000 or $9,000. So the amount of panache you get if you're into that sort of thing for the money is very good. The next car is probably the 560 SEL. 560 SELs are not really hot movers. People seem to like them here and there, but for the most part, the love affair ends quickly when you discover that the price of maintenance and the cost to feed one is pretty high. So you can actually go out there and buy a 560 SEL for a decent one for $3,000 or $4,000, spend another $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 making it perfect, and then turn around and have a really nice car. So there's a car where you get a lot of car for the money. Unfortunately, it's a lot of money to feed this car. The 124 did make it onto this list, and I had a hard time with this, but the 300E, the 300D 2.5, and the E300 diesel are all really cars that should be on this list. You get a lot of great car for the money with the later 124 diesels, and the 300E is an affordable car that delivers an exceptional ride, has a lot of good equipment, and is a very reliable vehicle. The big problem with the 300E is all the work you have to do after you buy it. Usually a head gasket, evaporator, a transmission repair, or a valve job is waiting for you at some point because of deferred maintenance. So these are cars that have received almost no maintenance at all, very infrequently. The fourth one is probably any W115 or W114 series car. These cars are really great driving, running cars. They're not unreliable. You know, they're not as difficult. And especially the diesel versions do a great job of giving you reliable transportation and an extremely classic looking car that anybody will recognize and appreciate. Probably the last car that I overlooked is the 380 SL. Of all the 107 crowd, the 380 is a really good buy because it gets good fuel economy. It's easy to work on. The small V8 engine has enough power but strikes a good balance with fuel economy. And the cars are, I don't know, they're stylish and cool, and if you want a W107, that's a good way to get in. You could argue that the early 450 SLs are a good way to get in as well, but often these need a lot more work than the 380. So at this point, by the way, if you're seeking advice or help about your Mercedes, support us on Patreon. And if you let me know via email at mbownersforlife@bellsouth.net or mbownersforlife@gmail.com that you're supporting me on Patreon, and you could show me proof of your support, I will answer any of your questions over the phone as quickly as possible. I try to help everybody, but if you're Patreon, you're going to get priority and as much time with me as you need. So the other thing I'd like to invite you to do is subscribe. I really appreciate all of our subscribers so far. In the last 28 days, we've found 750 new people who love Mercedes as much as we do, and I hope that number grows. And in the meantime, hit the bell for notifications, leave your comments below, like our videos, and enjoy driving your classic Mercedes or searching for your next one.